Welcome everybody. Today we will talk about resumes for US job market, specifically for IT job market, since we are planning to look for a job in technology field. And that lecture is a part of software quality assurance class. So we have not just overall IT, but specifically software testing and software quality assurance job market niche. And that is what our presentation is about today. Why do we need to have a resume? Does everybody need resume in this country? Not really. Not really. So in some professions, let's say if you're a construction worker, maybe you don't need a resume. If you're a salesperson, retail, if you sell produce, maybe you do not need resume. But anytime it comes to a relatively intelligent job, even clerical, people who do not make much and people who might not have a college degree, but still they now need resume. And you have to understand that resume is not exactly like FBI, or CIA application or form. It's not really about intelligence. It's a marketing brochure. It is a marketing brochure. You definitely put information about yourself there, but it doesn't have to be about something which is not relevant to the position. So if you look at your previous background, if something is not exactly relative, you can easily remove it. And if something is more important, so you can put more and more details about it. So it is a marketing brochure. Look at the resume as a marketing brochure because that is exactly what it is. Where people get resumes? So definitely some of them are capable of developing their own resume. Some people might not be capable of doing resume from scratch, but they might go to places like Craigslist, for example. And on Craigslist, everybody can search for somebody else's resume. So you can take somebody else's resume, or you can take 10 resumes in your profession, and then you kind of copy paste and edit and modify. So lots of people are capable of doing that. If you never had a resume, you can do it. If you already have a resume, so you just keep improving and updating, and so it becomes easier. If you never did resume and you have to do a resume, would it be a good idea to use software for creating resumes or templates? Sometimes if you go to Microsoft Word, it comes with resume templates, which I would strongly recommend you not to use. But are there any softwares? There are lots of software applications. Some of them are very good. But my personal thinking about that is, it really depends what you are looking in that software application. I do not know any software application which comes with a good set of resume bullets for multiple professions, so you can actually drag and drop those bullets and slightly modify them later on. If they do come with some content, it is really miserable, so you have to write it yourself after you use that software. So if formatting is a problem, you can probably use software. If content is a problem, I don't think any software is going to help you. So what is the best time to write resume? It is a good question. Definitely you need resume when you go to the job market. So is it the best time to write resume when you lose a job? And so tomorrow you have no job and you have no resume actually, so you start doing your resume, or you start doing it at night after you come home, being laid off. Definitely it is not the best time. So resume is something you keep and maintain and update in between jobs. So lots of people will tell you that the first moment you start thinking about next job is the first day when you start a job. You come today, this is your first day, start thinking about next one. Philosophical, I mean, doesn't mean you have to search for it right now. But what it means, you have to work on your resume from the day one. Anytime you start working somewhere, it's time to update a little bit your resume. And so whatever new you are doing, put it there. Because if you work somewhere for 5 years, and at the end of 5 years period, you decide to update your resume, guys, 95% of what you've done, you are not able to put in your resume. You just don't remember. Just do it on a regular basis. That is my best advice to you. Okay, resume structure. There are lots of discussions on resume structure, and it is kind of flexible, relatively flexible, relatively. So it normally starts with contact information, and so what are the typical issues? How many phone numbers should I provide? Should I provide my home phone number and my cell phone number, both of them? I would say just give them cell phone. You do not need to give them 2 or 3 or 5. Just give them cell phone. Make sure you answer your cell phone. And in my opinion, cell phone rather than landline shows that you are open to action. So I call you and you're going to be there. If you just give me landline, so you are less open to communicating with me as a recruiter. I'm just looking from a recruiter's standpoint. No email addresses with non-US domains. People come from different countries. And I've seen emails on US resumes. I've seen emails in Indian part of the world, in Russian part of the world, in Chinese part of the world. Guys, don't do it. If you are in US, if you are looking for US position, make sure it's US, or at least Gmail or Yahoo, that kind. Small picture doesn't hurt. Avoid placing lots of pictures. That is what I wouldn't suggest to do, because you don't want your email to be huge. When people see like 3, 4, 5 megabytes email downloading, so they might get scared. Don't do it. Just a small picture is nice. Make sure you look nice on that picture, and the best way to do that is avoid your own judgment. Okay, you might like yourself more than other people might like you. So ask 3, 4, 5 people you trust. Let's say, give them a couple of pictures to choose from. Don't say, do you like this picture? Give them 3, 4, 5 pictures and say, which one would you choose for resume? So use their help. Never place contact info in a footer or header of your resume. You might say, what's wrong with that? If resume comes in a printed form, paper form, it's okay. But imagine your resume being submitted to job search engines such as Dice or Monster, Career Builder, those places. So now their software should process your resume. So you do not want any issues, any complications. Don't do that. Just put it in the body of your resume. Do not use footers or headers for that. Objective. We have lots of people who are saying objective is not needed. You just put your skills and your experience, send it out, and then people will scratch their head and say, yeah, is there any way we can use that guy? Guys, it is not going to be your case. It always happens to someone else. Your resume will be very difficult to read, because if I have specific objective position, let's say you are saying software quality assurance engineer, and then I look at your skills and your experience and I measure that towards the objective you state. If you have no objective, now when I read what you've done, I have no idea what you mean. And so is it a good resume? Is it a bad resume? I don't know. That is number one. Number two, if you look at your life and you take 5 documents, create 5 documents, and in one document you will say software QA engineer, and let's say you worked as a technical writer, and you put technical writer. Let's say at some point you worked as a software developer and you make the objective software developer. Let's say you worked as a project lead at some point, or let's say project manager, and you create another resume and you say project manager. Now guys, you look at your life through 4 or 5 filters and you see completely different things in your life. Now you will get 4 or 5 resumes which are going to be substantially different from the one resume you can write, where you put everything like in a garbage can. So if you might be looking for 5 positions, guys, you need 5 resumes. You can open any book and they'll tell you. There is no disagreements on that. Now, no objective puts your resume in a category of a garbage can stuff. You have no clear idea, and you cannot impress much the people who are hiring. So, objective. It should be very clear and straightforward. And sometimes we see a piece of poetry there or an essay when people come with their objective. Guys, it is the shortest and the clearest part of your resume. Software QA engineer. You might say special interest in test automation, or accounting, or project manager in IT, company. Very, very straightforward. The more straightforward, the better for you. It cannot include multiple positions. Some people say software QA engineer / technical writer / technical support. That is exactly what garbage can means. And if I am a software QA manager, I want someone who is committed to software QA. If I am in technical support, I want someone who is committed to technical support. Multiple objectives in multiple titles in objective means you have no commitment. You don't care about any job. It's like any key. Press any key. There is no any key on the keyboard. Look at your keyboard. Do you see any key which says any? No, there is no any job. If I am hiring for the position. Reader should not be guessing what you want. Very smart. It is a must part of your resume. We just explained why. And it should be synchronized with all other resume sections. Actually, it will provide the tune, okay, and then other sections of your resume will go after that, tune, will follow. You can, if you come from overseas and it's clear you are coming from overseas, so just make sure people are not confused with you having or not having U.S. citizenship or green card or any form of legal employment authorization. Don't give them the letters and digits. Just you can put something very clear like U.S. employment authorized, whatever the visa and status, and you don't have to go into that. Because if they realize you are coming from a foreign background, guys, you have to understand there is a crowd of people on the market who are pretending they have work permit and they don't. And the idea is to pretend like I'm local, and then people call you, and then they bring you to an interview, and then they like you, and then they will sponsor you green card and blah 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 and all that stuff. I wouldn't suggest to go that way, because people who see lots of resumes, they are scared and sick and tired of that stuff. If you have green card, say I have green card. Profile. There are different names for that profile section. It could be summary. It could be summary of qualifications. But what are we talking about? Lots of people would confuse the profile section and technical skills section. What they do, they bring all the technicalities into that profile stuff, and then finally nobody understands what you are and who you are and what exactly your value is, because it is all mixed with technical keywords. Don't do that. So first you start with, let's say, very first line would look nice if you say 5 years of experience in blah 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 blah. Oh, okay. Now you understand. Then we have to use bullets. Lots of people do not use bullets, and it becomes difficult to read, number one. Number two, each and every bullet works like a hammer. You just hammer that data into their minds. 5 years of experience, strong expertise in this, whatever, advanced knowledge of this, boom, boom, boom. So bullets help people to read a lot. If your text looks like a stream, guys, it's very difficult. You want them to kind of do some intellectual work to understand what you are saying. And number one, there is some level of disrespect here. Number two, guys, do not expect these people to be too intellectual. They might not even understand what you are saying. It's your responsibility to be understood, to make it simple, easy to understand. So put bullets. Sorted by value means most important things. You start with the most important things, whatever you consider most important, but I would suggest you to look at their job descriptions. Look what they consider to be most important. It should be 100% supporting the objective. For example, in your profile, if you are looking for software quality assurance position It doesn't matter if you worked as a physical education teacher before, really. Or you might say you are a champion of your college in badminton. Guys, I don't know. People put different things there, but if it is not supporting your objective, it works against you. It dilutes the value of your objective and your statements that you are positioned to be in sync with that objective. Each bulleted position should, each line should correspond to work experience gained by doing something at work. It is not exactly classes you take. I mean, unless if you are just coming out of college, it's one story. But if you already have experience, it should be all about experience. And so if we didn't mention work authorization in objective, some people mention that in objective. They might say green card holder looking for blah, blah, blah position. So lots of people do that. If we didn't do it above, so we would put it in profile. I will put it in summary. At the very end of the summary, I will say U.S. employment authorized green card holder, things like that. That is my favorite place for that. Technical skills. So we have just a listing of inventory, of our technical skills. I have a sample resume here, which I use when we talk about resumes. This is objective, guys. Software QA engineer. You cannot make it more direct. Summary of qualifications. That is the way I call it here. I'm not saying profile or just summary. I'm saying, okay, summary of qualifications. And we do not mention green card here, but then it says software QA engineer with hands-on experience in testing, blah, blah, blah. Working knowledge of agile model. Develop solid test documentation. Use programming or scripting languages. Develop data-driven automation testing. Whatever I consider to be most important goes to the top of that. And then technical skills. I'm saying platforms, okay, list of platforms, mobile platforms, list of mobile platforms, programming languages, test automation tools, networking protocols, okay, virtual machines, browsers. Do not put any versions of software or tools. Let's say Oracle 8.0. Guys, in today's world, if you say Oracle 8.0, you look obsolete. Nobody makes you to do that. Say Oracle. Do not provide obsolete versions. Stay away from that. Do not use tables in that section. So lots of people create a table with two columns. So one column is just the name of the position, and another column is the value, so the tools. And the problem with tables is when your resume gets uploaded to those job search websites, guys, you will be amazed what happens to the tables. And I have a recruiter's license to a couple of those, and I can tell you sometimes it becomes absolutely unreadable. So do not do that. Do not use tables anywhere in your resume. That is my suggestion. It doesn't mean you are 100% at risk, even if it is 10% or 5% being at risk. Don't do that. It is not worth it. Update anytime you learn another tool. Very often I look at resumes which were done, let's say, 5 years ago, and now in the emergency mode, they spend like 5-10 minutes and they update the resume and go to the job market, and all the skill set is 5 years old. And the only reason it happens, they didn't update that resume on the fly. So it might have tools which were discontinued 10 years ago. It might have not have tools they used, but they just didn't put it there. And also, whatever happens in your experience section of resume, make sure that all the technical terminology will move to your summary of technical skills. So you might add some new language or new tool, new protocol into your resume, but it will not be reflected in the summary, technical summary. Guys, it is very important. It's a live organism, so all the organs of your resume, all the sections of your resume, they are in sync. They should be in sync if you have an organically done resume. Now we are moving to work experience section of your resume. First of all, the order in which you talk about your experience is very simple. So it is the last job shows first. Why? Because people, they are interested in the most recent experience. specifically in IT field, guys, what you did 10 years ago doesn't really make much sense to, today, even 5 years ago. They want to look at your most recent experience. That is why that is the order in which you do that. Lots of resumes would use like 3, 4, 5 years just to say where you worked, in which city, what was the title, what was the company, what were the dates, if it was a consulting company, who was the client, and it might be like, 5, 6 lines sometimes. 3, 4, 5, 6. One line is enough. And if you look at that resume, which I just did show you, look at that, it says 0111 dash present, software key consultant, whatever company name, and that is where it is. That's it. You do not need 3, 4, 5, 10 lines for that. Description of the product tested is important. So let's say you are saying, okay, I tested something. Here, the girl says, tested web-enabled professional-grade photo sharing application. She doesn't start with analyzing business requirements and developing test cases. She's okay, that is what I tested. Lots of people, what they do before they jump on what they tested, they might have like 5, 10 lines of text describing that company, leading provider of God knows what. And then they start describing the project. And they are in black box testing, and they start talking about languages used and environments used and versions of tools and this and that. And it looks like they are, God knows, development managers talking about their experience, and they are not. And all that stuff is not relevant to them at all. Guys, do not turn your resume into another garbage can with excess information which has nothing to do with you. I remember one lady, she had a line like environment here at the end of her position here, and it was Unix and Java and God knows what. And I'm saying, okay, what did you do in Java? She says nothing. I'm saying, why do you put in your resume? She says, it's an environment. The application was developed in Java. I'm saying it's not your application resume, it's your resume. How you are related to Java. What do you know about Java? How you can bring your knowledge of Java to our company? And it was my environment and blah, blah, blah. Zombies. Guys, do not be a zombie. Do not look like a zombie. Do not act like a zombie. Do not bring to your resume things which are absolutely irrelevant to you. It will hurt you. Bullet it. So again, why bullets are important? Because it structures the delivery of information. So each and every bullet is like a hammer. Boom, boom, boom. Worked with requirements. Boom. Did automation. Boom. Developed test cases. Boom. If you have no bullets, it becomes much, much more difficult to read. And I'm telling you that, I read lots of resumes every day. Only activities related to objective should be in that resume. For example, you might work in a small startup. And normally in startups, we are involved in lots of things which are not exactly in line with our major line of business. For example, I was working as a software quality assurance engineer, but then they asked me to develop help, and they gave me a tool, and I was taking files from a technical writer, and I was compiling help for that application we tested. The problem here is either you worked for 1 year and 100% of your time you did testing, or you worked for 1 year and 70% of your time you did testing and 30% you did something which is not testing. So then you are kind of losing to the person who did 100% of testing within 1 year. So you do not want to dilute the value of your QA experience. So whatever is not exactly related to that, do not put it there. Another problem in many resumes is people who worked on 3, 4, 5, 6 projects, they just copy-paste from one project to another project, and you look at that resume, it's 5 pages, and each position has like 20 bullets. And when you start reading, you find out that out of 20 bullets, only 2 or maybe 3 are specific to that company or that project, and all others are just copy-paste one from another. Guys, who has time to read all that? Then, when it comes to education, my personal thinking about that is I see lots of resumes where people have education obtained in other countries, specifically India and Russia and some European countries. Guys, you are not in business of translation, okay? You are not going to translate the name of your college exactly. Again, you are not in FBI, you are not in CIA. You have to explain what kind of education you have in simple terms which are understood by people who read your resume. And just make it the American way. State university, okay, everybody understands state university. You don't have to explain that that university was named under, God knows, half-line name of person. And your major, sometimes your major, when you translate it into English, becomes impenetrable. God knows what you mean. Really, God knows what you mean under that major. Make it American way. Make it understandable to people who are operating on local market. And it doesn't mean you are lying. It doesn't mean you are cheating or doing anything bad. Because when it comes to employment, you provide all your degrees and diplomas and certificates, whatever they ask you to provide. Honestly, I don't remember anybody asked me to provide anything. And I worked for many companies. But if they do, or they do verifications, they run formal verification of your credentials, they will ask you for exact name of the college and location and this and that, then you do it. Mythology. So people have beliefs, myths they believe into. So and sometimes those myths are contradictory to each other. So one says resume should be 1 page big. If your resume is more than 1 page, nobody will read your resume. Some people say, listen, if your resume is less than 2 pages, who is going to read your resume? Especially considering that you have 2 years of experience or 3 years of experience or 5 years, who is going to read your resume? Some people say, and I wouldn't call that country exactly by name, but most of them are coming from that same country. They say if you are just out of college, you should have like 4 or 5 pages resume. And what's in the resume? Well, your college projects, your coursework, and honestly, I would say your coursework and college projects are pretty good thing. If you're just out of college, it's very smart to have that there. But 4 or 5 pages, guys, is too much. And now it's easy. It's electronic, it comes in electronic way. I remember times when it would go to fax. 4 or 5 pages of fax with literally nothing. So what is the right way of doing things? The right way is the one which is best for you. And for example, let's say you have 3 years of experience, and all those 3 years you worked in the same company. You might easily have 1-page resume. Another story, you have 3 years of experience, but you worked on 5 or 6 projects as a consultant. Guys, now 2 pages might not be enough. Again, if you have 10 years of experience and now you have like 25 projects you worked on, and then projects which happened 10 years ago, you might completely ignore them, or you might have a couple of lines. But if you keep adding like 10 lines per project and never update or revise or kind of make important things more detailed and less important things less detailed, your resume is going to be like a monster, and I don't know who is going to read that resume. So it should be adequate. There is no specific number of pages. If someone tells you it should be 1 page or 2 pages or 4 or 5 pages, just stop talking to these people. Okay, that is my best advice. And start looking at your resume and your experience and description of your experience. So it should be detailed, but not up to the level of abusing people's attention. in time, and then that is pretty much how it should be. And again, in today's world, you can go to Craigslist. You can look at other people's resumes a lot. They're not hidden. We discussed that already. Some people say objective is not needed in your resume. My suggestion is very similar to the one above, so stay away from these people. Objective is a very, very important part of your resume, if you want my opinion on it. File format. You can't imagine how many different formats people use to submit their resumes. Sometimes it is specific to the industry in which they are. For example, if you have curriculum vitae and you are in academic environment, most likely it is going to be in PDF format, and it is expected to be in PDF format. If you work in IT, and you send your resume to recruiters and you post your resume on DICE, which means most of the people who see your resumes are recruiters, they have to modify your resume a little bit. When they send your resume to clients, they have to remove your contact information so clients contact them, not you. Just as an example. So your resume should be easy to edit, so you cannot do it in PDF format. You shouldn't. Or you might provide multiple formats if you wish, but again, PDF by itself is not good enough if you are in IT and you work with recruiters. Then in today's world, we have different versions of operating systems. So we have Macintosh and we have Windows. We have Windows 7, XP, and Vista. And people who open your resume might use any of those, and I can tell you I've seen all of that because I open every day lots of resumes sent to me. And I can tell you there is just one format which is really safe, and that format is RTF. RTF. So everybody is able to open a file in that format. So use it. And then you never will have email saying I cannot open your resume, please resend or something like that. So RTF is the easiest one. Some people say using bullets is good. Some people say not using bullets is good. And there might be some reasons why bullets are good or not good. I don't know. I mean, to me, bullets are about making the text easier to read and understand. And it, in terms of marketability, it gives you certain value. So you might say we do not want that value. It's up to you. I mean, I would do some extra step to make it more better to read, easier to read. Hobbies. Some people put in their resumes hobbies. Athletics, basketball, I don't know, tourism, whatever, guys. My thinking is I don't want to see that stuff. Age, marital status, health. I don't think specifically American resumes have that, but I see lots of resumes coming from overseas. For example, if you get resume from Israel, you will see the age and marital status and how many kids and the excellent health. So in some countries it's okay to say that, and maybe they expect you to do that, but not here. Personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable talking to you. I mean, if I get resume like that, I don't want to be blamed in hiring or not hiring you because of how many kids you have and is your health good or not and what's your age. So we have lots of regulations here against discrimination of people. So I really don't want to be a part of that. References in the resume. Some people manage to put their references right in the resume or in cover letter or in the email, which means they expose their references to solicitations. If your reference is a manager and it goes to recruiters, the first thing they do, guys, they give it to sales department and they call them asking if they can help them with hiring people. And if you do that to me as your reference, guys, guess what happened? You lose me as a reference. I don't want to be a reference anymore because you are abusing the privilege of using me as a reference. So you expose me to certain things I don't want to be exposed to. So never ever put references in the resume itself. They have to ask you for references. But at the same time, be prepared to provide them references right away. Maybe just copy paste from a file. And make sure you talk to your references before you put their name in the list. Talk to them. Make sure you update them with your resume. Very often, I'm giving references a lot. Very often, I'm getting calls and they ask me something and I don't know. Really. And people modified their resumes one way or another way, or they didn't update me with their resumes. And sometimes I don't even remember them. Sometimes they call me, ask about things which happened 12 years ago, 15 years ago. Guys, I don't remember. Really, I met 3,000 people over that period of time. I just don't remember. So if you put somebody's name into references, make sure you contact that person, get approval, and they tell you exactly how they want to be represented, and with which title, which phone number, email, and this and that, and then you can do it. Logos. Some people who have certificates, whatever certificates, it could be Cisco, it could be BrainBench, it could be Oracle. What they do, they put logos of the certificates on their resume. And if you have one, it's okay. If you have two, it could be fine. But sometimes the resume file becomes like 5 megabytes, and which is not fine. And so I would say do not abuse that. Do not. If you are in the field where everybody does that, it's a normal thing. It's a part of the deal. Sure. If not, so then just be careful with those images, or at least make sure the images are small, because based on the format of the image, it could be huge or it could be very modest. So just make sure you do not send big files. Some people say that any US experience is better than nothing, which means, let's say you are looking for a position in, let's say you go to City College and take classes in web design, and now you want to be hired in web design field, but you know what? All your US experience is pizza delivery. So people think I want to put that pizza delivery in my resume. I say, why? It's not in sync with your, web design, aspirations. Maybe you should just say that you did some mechanical engineering back, let's say, in Russia, and now you came here, took the class, you want to be in web design. But no, but you know what? This is American experience. Guys, American or Indian or Chinese or Russian or Brazilian, if it is not adequate to the job you are applying for, guys, don't do that. First of all, it doesn't help, but secondly, it might really hurt. So why would you hurt yourself? This is the question. So if you think it helps, it's not true. Then we talk about formatting your resume. We have people who use plenty of fonts and styles in same resume. They might have just text, and then that text might be bolded sometimes it might be italicized, sometimes it's bolded and italicized at the same time, underscored, God knows what. Guys, and sometimes they change fonts. It might be just not one font. It could be Arial and Times New Roman and God knows what. Don't do that. Do not play with fonts and their sizes and styles. Just use one font and one font size. Let's say Times New Roman 11, perfect. Arial 10, perfect. You might bold, let's say, names of the sections. Objective, let me go back to that resume. Yeah, like here, you have work experience bolded, you have education and training bolded, references available upon request bolded. But guys, do not do that too much, because some people, they say agile, make it bold, and they say automated, make it bold. What else? Life cycle, development life cycle, make it bold. And then you read that resume, it's all combinations of bolded, not bolded. So my suggestion, don't do that. And provide 1-inch margin. Not many people realize that resume might be actually placed in a binder. Guys, we still have binders, and people use binders. So we have to punch it, we have to put it somewhere. 1-inch margin is a very nice thing. There is nothing wrong with that. So do not use footers or headers unless it is something of paramount importance. I don't know what it could be. Maybe paging of your resume. So if you have 5 pages and it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, you can do it. Do not use tables. We discussed that. Do not use different colors. You can't imagine how many people now are using certain colors, red and violet and this and that. Guys, you're not painting anything. It's not a painting. It's just a document. Consistent spacing between resume sections. That is what I mean. You might have a certain space here, then you have more space here, then you have no space here, and then you have 3 times here. And you can't imagine, guys, how many resumes are exactly like that and no space here. And it might even be like that. Okay, consistent spacing. So it's a disastrous kind of thing. The more accurate, the better, and especially if you are working in the field where accuracy is important, which is pretty much everywhere. I don't know. A spell check. Believe it or not, we still have people sending resumes with lots of spelling mistakes. Also, let me show what I would normally do when I do resumes. I'm trying to eliminate double spaces. So people might have double space here and double space here and double space here. So what I do, I'm saying, okay, edit, replace, double space, and just single space, and say replace. And it says replace 6. Okay, one more time, replace. One more, okay, replace. It says 0. When it says 0, I'm saying, okay. Okay. So we are done. So you do not want double spaces or triple spaces, or sometimes people use spaces to format everything. Do not use spaces to format anything. Use tabs if you wish. Comma after word, no space in between. That is the ugliest thing I've seen in my life, and that is how it happens. Software QA engineer, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me find commas somewhere. Okay, let's say TCP/IP, FTP, okay. No space. Here we have no space. Here we have space, comma, and then no space, HTTP. Then we have no space, and then we have double space, comma, no space. Here is an example of what you will see in maybe 50% of technical resumes today. So they might have master's degree in computer science. They never use spell check in their life, and they probably never graduated from middle school or elementary school. I don't know, but that is everywhere. Guys, stay away from the crowd, okay? Beat the crowd. Don't do it like that. So it really, it is everywhere. It is amazing how we came to that. Resume language. Okay. Action verbs it's a classic rule. It says anytime you have a bullet which describes your experience, let's say it says here in work experience of that person, it says tested, analyzed, developed, tested, validated. Here is different. It says responsible for. Okay, we do not use action verb. Tested, provided, validated, participated. And we have a list of, if you go to Google and you search for list of action verbs, guys, you find a lot. And I just have one to show you, which I copy pasted from internet. Definitely I wouldn't do it myself. And it's a sample list of action verbs. Just search Google for sample list of action verbs, and you will find maybe more than that and larger than that. But that is how each bullet in describing your experience should look like. Applied, appraised, approved, arbitrated, arranged, assessed, assisted, attained, awarded, and so on. That is how resume should look like. So past tense, present tense, so or ing form. In which form you use it? Just be consistent. If it happened in the past, I would use the past tense. If I am still working there, I can use present tense, or I might use the ing form, but just be consistent. If you have your resume, coming back again to that poor person, I don't, it says tested, analyzed, developed, tested, validated. Do not make it like testing, web enabled, analyzed, develop, present, tested, test, validating. Do not make it to look like a garbage can. Be consistent in the tense you use. Professional language only. Do not use slang terms. Do not use abbreviations like WIN instead of Windows. You don't want that. You just say Windows. There is nothing wrong in saying Windows. No borrowing of common phrases. Sometimes, there are phrases which are, for example, if I go to Google, guys, let's do it this way. Let me go to Google. And I go to Google and I will say something which is like a stamp in your resume. Avoid stamps. Avoid something which everybody is using. So it leads you to low trust kind of comprehension of your resume. Let's say I put in double quotes, which means looking for exact match. Let's say excellent communication skills. I mean, you understand what we are talking about, yeah? Okay, let's see. How many times? 66 million, yeah? 67, almost 67 million times. Do you want that? Or let me use another one. Let's say for software testing. Passion for software quality. I like it, actually. If you ask me, I do like it. 600,000 times, guys. 600,000 times. It happens not just in resumes, it also happens in job descriptions. And this is where it starts from. Passion for software quality. Now, here is exactly what that means here. It says, do not borrow common phrases from other people. How do you know it's a common phrase? Search it on Google. See how many millions or times it was used. Just put it in double quote and try. Do not give your resume to curious people. Eventually, what curious people do with your resume, they just copy-paste. And I've seen that a lot. They just change the name. Instead of your name, they're going to be their name. And then you have to prove it's not you who's stolen their resumes, It's them who's stolen your resumes. And why in the world you would allow anybody to steal your resume? So it's an intimate thing. Guys, keep it for yourself. Do not really share your resume especially with people who might not have their own resumes, who are new to the country, who are new to the job market. They desperately need resumes, and your resume is going to be copied. I've seen that a lot. Never stop learning from resumes of others. Guys, it doesn't take much time. I mean, if you spend 5 minutes once a week going to Craigslist and looking what other people say in their resumes, your resume in 1 month, or maybe 2 months or 3 months will be real good. 1 year down the road, it's going to be the best resume ever, because really not many people pay attention to how it looks like. Research resume language on Craigslist. That is what I just said. So Craigslist is a good place. And then we have a personal section on resume. It might be or might not be something you have. Not many resumes have personal. Sometimes you would put the content of personal into your summary of qualifications. Like you might say excellent communication skills or fluency in German, French, Spanish, and Chinese or something like that. But you can still have personal. What I would do if is a job description has a lot in that. If they really want me for that specific position, if they want me to have this and this and this and this, so I might have personal as a separate section, if I'm really adjusting my resume to that specific position. But if I do resume for mass market kind of promotion, I wouldn't probably do that. And again, standard verbiage is to be avoided here, guys. It's very easy to run into standard verbiage. Don't do that, because people do not put any value in something you copy-paste. It should come out of your heart.